Okay, we start with the reading from Emmett Fox. This is part of his series on the Our Father. And this particular one is about our daily bread. He gives the quote from the King James, which was his go-to Bible. And of course, really it was one of the primary ones back in the 40s and 50s when he wrote. Give us this day our daily bread. Okay, and then he writes, because we are the children of a loving Father, we are entitled to expect that God will provide us with everything we need. If we do so expect in faith and understanding, we shall never look in vain. It is the will of God that we should all lead healthy, happy lives, full of joyous experience, that we should develop freely and steadily. To this end, we require such things as food, clothing, shelter, means of travel, books, and so on. Above all, we require freedom. In the prayer, all of these things are included under the heading of bread. That is to say, not merely food in general, but all things required for a healthy, free, and harmonious life. But in order to obtain these things, we have to claim them, and we have to recognize God alone as the source and fountainhead of all our good. Lack of any kind is always traceable to the fact that we have been seeking our supply from some secondary source, instead of from God Himself, who is the author and giver of life. Now, the Lobster translation is different in several different ways, so I'm going to read the entire Our Father as a reference point from the Lobster translation. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so on earth. Give us bread for our needs from day to day, and forgive us our offenses, as we have forgiven our offenders. And do not let us enter into temptation. Notice this difference. Do not let us enter into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Okay, folks, we're lucky enough. Lori Kay is going to talk tonight. Lori, what is the topic, please?
I'm going to talk about transmuting the fear. I'm going to start in a place that you might not expect. There is a very sacred book from India called the Mahabharata. And this is a book that it has two characters in it, the god Krishna and a man named Arjuna, Lord Arjuna. And Arjuna is about to go into battle. The battle is between him and his family. It's between two sides of an idea, the morality and immorality. And he doesn't want to have to go forth and destroy his kin. This is anathema to him, but it is also his duty as the head of this army that he is leading. And Krishna is going to drive the chariot into battle. So Krishna, the entire book, the Mahabharata, is completely about the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna about why does he have to do this? Lord, do I have to do this? And Krishna starts at the highest level. This is how the great saints and great spiritual beings of India teach. They start at the highest level to see if you can meet them there. See if you can awaken. And if you can't, they come down to another level. Can you meet them there? Can you take it in? And it goes like this until they find the place where the door is open and you can take in the information. And then you can rise. And the first place that Krishna talks to him about is this: none of this is real. It's basically the Indian equivalent of you are a spiritual being having a human experience, so don't worry about it. None of this is real. But Arjuna, of course, is like, that sounds really nice, but what? Like, I still have to go forth and kill people that I love. I don't want to do this. So this entire book is about the stepping down to where Arjuna can hear the argument that will allow him to step into what's called his dharma, which is his duty in life, his righteous duty, which is to lead his army. That is his mission, that is his responsibility. And when Krishna says to him, your fight goes beyond mere victory, it's for the preservation of dharma, not just your dharma, it is for the preservation of doing the right thing. Arjuna finally agrees and they go forth into battle. Now we have our battle in this country now. And we're actually making a lot of inroads. Not sure whether you know all of them. I know I don't know all of them, but I know more than I did about a week ago. Because about a week ago, I was in a lot of fear. And I was in a lot of despair and a lot of rage as a result. And I spent a great deal of time just getting quiet, just being with myself, nurturing myself, listening to psychics and tarot readers, because being in the company of people who think the way that I think and being able to do that at any time of the day or night really helped me, lifted me. But I started thinking a lot about fear. Where does it come from? How do we manage to get ourselves out of the amygdala hijack, the hijack that comes from fight or flight, that stops us from seeing options, stops us from seeing our own strength, stops us from reaching out and instead being frozen. And it seems to me, upon reflection, that fear doesn't come from something we can name that happened to us as a child or a young adult or a grown person. Fear, at its core, arises from a few things that have to do with our belief in powerlessness, our own powerlessness. And powerlessness is not who or what we really are. But we've certainly been socialized and educated to not believe that we have all that we need. We talk about that a lot. We have everything we need. It's all within, just go within and you'll have it. But we don't believe it. We don't practice it. We don't become curious enough to go in and start to ask the questions. Okay, if it's all here, I have a question. How can I find the answer? And do it with curiosity instead of from that negative certain place of, I know I can't do this. And when we go in from that place, we go, where's my answer? Why don't I know already? And that keeps the doors closed. So fear arises from things like not knowing our own abilities. I mean, this can be as 3D as I'm afraid to ask somebody out. We don't know. I mean, that was something my brother was terrified about throughout his life. I don't know how to ask somebody out. What if she says or does this or that? He never knew his own ability on just a basic level like that. Fear comes from our misidentification with our disempowerment. Our real identity is that we are, each of us, a complete 100% reflection of the divine. And we keep thinking, I'm limited, I'm limited, I'm limited. Because it's what we've learned and we haven't started practicing the opposite. Fear comes from also, and this is one that I came across within my own self yesterday, not believing that anything other than our own minds can create the pathways out of jail cells, metaphorical jail cells of fear, metaphorical and real jail cells of what the heck is the government going to do to me? So the fear comes, the core part of fear is I don't have a resource. There is nothing I can do. I'm just one person. I'm only human. And none of that is true. None of that is truth with a capital T. That is not your energetic truth. But if we don't really know that in an embodied way yet, or if we don't know it fully, or if we've stumbled across another part of ourselves that is going, oh dear God, I have no idea what to do right now. What can we do about the fear? Because staying in it is not an option. So I have 3 answers that I came up with, and I look forward to hearing more of them from you. Number 1, we have to calm our nervous system. We have to. And to do that, what I'm doing lately is when I start to get hijacked by dread and concern and all the rest of it, I say, okay, stop. And I stop what I'm doing and I sit back and I look around me and I see what is literally like next to me is this couch. Here's my desk over here. My cats are over there. I see a lamp over here. And I breathe and I ask myself a very simple question. I say, are you okay in this moment? And I have to say, yeah. Fortunately, I can say yes. I'm not bleeding. I'm not under physical attack from somebody. I'm not completely out of money. Like all the things that I use to measure my security. I'm okay. In this moment, I'm okay. And if you can grab that and understand that that is a power moment, that's very helpful for calming your nervous system. When you calm your nervous system, you bring your brain back online. You take it out of that amygdala hijack, and you suddenly can see and intuit other things that you can do. And that brings up number 2. What can we do about fear? Get into action. Get out of the hopelessness by doing something. Does that mean you have to start a campaign to recreate government in some other image? No, it doesn't mean you have to take on a massive job, but it means you have to get into action. If your big mission for the day to get you into a place of slightly more positivity is to work on getting yourself out of the fear, you've done your work for the day. If you want to literally do something in the external to make a difference, to have your voice be heard, there are lots of ways to reach out without deep sixing who you are. In other words, if you are not the person who's all fiery and wants to go out and create a conflagration to say we won't put up with it, if that's not you, if you're like the maternal type, guess what? A lot of fearful people out here. They need your mothering and calm presence. Start a group where you help people get calm. If you are a fiery person and you want to get out there and you want to start, I can't think of the word. I keep falling all over this word. What is it? You want to get out there and march. Get out there and march. If you want to get out there and you want to use an app on your phone, like there's one called 5 Calls, which makes it super simple to make 3 to 5 calls a day, which takes you all of about 20 minutes. Do that. What any of these things does is it raises your energy and it gives you something to do. It stops that fear, because fear is complete. Fear will stop you from thinking and feeling and understanding the limitlessness of who you are and what you can be and what you can do. So you want to get out of that and you want to get into a slightly different feeling that opens the doors for you. The third thing that I can do and you can do and we can do about fear is reach into that connection that is constant. This is a constant, this connection to the divine. We are created of it. We can't be apart from it. We cannot. We can think that we're apart from it. Thank you, training. Thank you, social conditioning. Thank you, religious training. But it's not true. We are continuously being born of that energy in every single moment. Reach into that connection to gain your remembrance, your realization of your own limitlessness. Open to your intuition, to your spirit guides, to your God, to your divinity, whatever it is that makes you exhale. You know, Eleanor Roosevelt, who is such a huge heroine of mine, she says, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. Now, I once played Eleanor in a play at the Dayton Playhouse, probably about 25 years ago. And I'm very, very proud of that play. I fell completely in love with Eleanor, researched the heck out of her, amazing woman. And I'm proud of that play, even though I completely broke the illusion when I was on stage by wrapping my hand around one of the fake window panes. So I showed that there was actually no glass in the window. And in the audience, the director burst out laughing. But yesterday evening, regarding fear and looking in the face, I got tired of having felt cruddy all day. And I don't mean physically, I mean emotionally cruddy. I was feeling really disempowered, really helpless, really like, what's going on in my country? There's nothing I can do. And I got tired of it. I got tired of sort of nursing that feeling within me. And I said to myself, wait a second, wait a second. I need to sit down. I need to stop. And I need to look at this. I need to put a little bit of distance between me and it and look at it as a thing, not as me. Because I've learned over the last couple of years how addicted we are to our troubles. We're really addicted to the problems because we think that's the only way that we can fix them is if we keep focusing on them. It's a paradigm shift when we learn that that's not the way, and it's an amazing thing to be learning. So I sat down and I said, okay, wait, what's going on here? Let me look at this. And I saw it as a habit. I saw it as like an energy. I went, wow, that's really not an emotion that I want to practice. Like that's not fun. That's weird. I don't really like that. I wonder if I can feel something different, but I was having trouble feeling something different. I was even having trouble smiling. And I realized that it was an experience of practicing helplessness. And I said, oh my God, I need to start practicing feeling good anyway. I need to focus on practicing seeing something a little different more frequently than just when I sit down to do the 1% solution exercise. I don't need the exercise. I need to just practice turning it around. Helplessness is what we've been trained to see as our identity. It really has been given to us spiritually, socially, and in every way. And women get a double dose. Think of it this way. We tend to beg God for abundance. We beg God for health. We beg for a different situation when we're in a situation that's really harmful or hurtful, tough to go through, when all of the abundance and the health and everything else is our birthright and it's already been given. So what if instead of sitting in the helplessness and the sense of lack, we said, I'm going to ask this ever-present oneness for what it is that I would prefer. And I'm going to do it as I would to a loving and wealthy parent who I know is going to say yes. So I have no doubts. I have a total expectation of yes, and I am filled with gratitude that this is my lot in life. What a cool thing to practice. We're not helpless. On the spiritual level, that high spiritual level, that is that first place I told you that the gurus, the teachers, the enlightened ones teach. We have the ability to shift our energy, to visualize and step emotionally into, for even a few minutes a day, the quality of life that we want in our lives individually, in our relationships, in this country, and in the world, and literally make it happen. But if we can't resonate with that, we have to step it down. On the 3D level, we are not alone. There are 1,500 calls being received in senators' offices, 1,500 calls per minute on a system that is designed to handle 500 a minute and usually gets maybe 30. There are demonstrations happening. There are amazing things happening that I didn't know about. I was too busy in my fear. And once I calmed myself, I started finding that I'm not alone. We are not alone. We can get into action. We can find out what expresses our highest energies. This is true even if our country were not in trouble, because we tend to be in trouble. We've just been trained to look at what's wrong. And until we practice more often saying, what's right? What's right? In this trouble, what's right? We'll stay in the problem. We don't want that. So here's the question. Are you someone, and this is not to be answered in a way where like I better get into action before this is even over. This is an important question though. Are you someone who wants to have personal agency in your life? Are you someone who believes the things that you say about the divine, the highest things that you say, even if you're arguing with them? Are you someone who wants to find the ways to actualize what it is that you say you believe, to practice the truth of what you say you believe? Because this moment in human history, we're in an ascension. We're in an evolutionary period. And it is time is now. The time is now. You have the most energy at your disposal to step into this. This is you getting the very first ticket onto the merry-go-round. We are Arjuna, saying, what is it? What is it that will allow me to get into action, into righteous action in my own life? What will lift me in my own life? Away from the fear, because I'll be focused on something that's more about what makes me feel stronger. We're also Krishna, Lord Krishna, for one another, urging one another up, lifting one another up, and urging one another forward to preserve righteous action in our own lives, demanding respect and giving respect, not backing down. This one's especially important for us women. We can't let ourselves be distracted 150% by fear. We can each find 15 or 30 minutes a day throughout the day. We don't have to make it a packaged 30 minutes, but we can find times throughout the day to remind ourselves that we are all of the light, that is our true identity. And finally, here is a quote by someone named Etty Hillesum. And then I'll say one more thing. So the quote is, ultimately, we have just one moral duty: to reclaim large areas of peace in ourselves, more and more peace, and to reflect it towards others. And the more peace there is in us, the more peace there will also be in our troubled world. By getting into action, doing something internal or external, or preferably both, we do two things. We look fear in the face and we say to it, you are not the boss of me. And we look ourselves in the face with new respect, new levels of appreciation, and bushels of personal agency, and all the strength we may have spent decades asking God for, only to find that it was right here all along.
To me, the biggest message is holding on to the peace, reclaiming the peace, and knowing that the power is part of our peace. And the rest, we can allow ourselves to be guided to where to go and what to do. That is our part of the puzzle. Anybody else?
Ellie raised her hand, and so did Liz.
Oh, okay. I saw Liz. Who was the other one?
Ellie.
Ellie. Oh, okay. I can't. Ellie, I'm sorry. You're obscured by the camera. We'll go with Liz first, and then Ellie. Go ahead, Liz.
Thank you so much, Lloyd. That was just wonderful. Very reassuring in many ways. Helpful to in helping ourselves be the source of not fear, but the source of integrating and aligning ourselves with the spirit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. Ellie, you're next.
I was asking a question this past, I don't know, over the weekend. And, how we can get in touch, with our inner selves, especially women, because of, what we go through. And I had found a book that I ordered, and I didn't realize it was a tarot book until after it came in the mail. But it was the Goddess Tarot. So each of the major arcana had dealt with one of the goddesses. And it was interesting in the fact that each goddess that it dealt with, whether it was Roman, whether it was Hindu, whether it was Norse, whichever goddess it was, it told a little bit about the goddess, and then it invited you to look inside yourself to see those same characteristics. And I had never really seen that. I mean, sure, in Judaism, the spirit is seen as feminine because of what the spirit does: wooing, teaching, nurturing. So, it's mothering. So it's easy to see it in that aspect. But to look at each of the different goddesses and each of those characteristics and look inside and knowing, to be able to say, I've got that. I've got that. And being able to rise up, as Lori Kay was describing that story, being able to rise up to instead of going down, but rising up to each of those levels to be able to say, you know, I've got this. I don't have to stay down. I can rise up and see these things and grab hold of these things and allow these things to make me stronger. So thank you, Lori Kay, for your talk. And yes, as you guys can see, it's like snow everywhere here.
Thank you, Ellie. Bob V.
It just came to me that, you know, we need to walk our talk. And what comes to mind is a person like Mother Teresa. She exuded love and sympathy and brotherhood. And if we can just forget about our fears, or at least put our fears on the back burner, but live a life of love and service, like a person like Mother Teresa. At some point, our fears are going to become less and less and less, and we'll be walking the path of enhancing our lives.
Thank you. Did you say something, Ray?
Yeah, I was reminded at the end of Wizard of Oz when Glinda tells Dorothy she had the power the whole time.
Okay. Anybody else?
That's actually what I was quoting at the end. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
So, thank you, God, for bringing us together, for having us as a family, allowing us to be family, helping us to support one another in our great times, in our difficulties. Thank you for allowing us to share love, caring, joy, and blessings. And thank you for allowing us to go out, do your good, enjoy life, and come back here again to be with one another. We give full thanks, dear God, for all the good. And we all say, Amen.